So here's the situation. I just got finished filming and editing a video that I've been meaning to make for quite some time. My top 10 accessories for my Fuji X100 linked down below. Very excited to have finally made it and be buzzing a little bit with creativity. After being stuck in a little bit of a rut, I must say thank you so much for all of the inspiration and positive comments that you dropped for me on my recent video on that. It really has given me quite the boost, and it was great just for everyone to share their thoughts about getting stuck in this little creative ruts. Now, it's a horrible winter's evening and I just feel like picking up the camera and I wanted to do something creative. Quite fortunately, as I finished this video, the one thing I hadn't done is made my thumbnail. That's nothing new because that happens every time I make a video. Quite frustrating. It's a challenge. It's a real challenge to make these thumbnails. But today I thought instead of just pulling a frame from the video and being a little bit lazy, I'd actually make something specific for it and get a little photo shoot out of it as well. So what I'm going to be doing is creating a flat lay style photo of all of my accessories. I must be honest, I have been totally inspired and influenced on this occasion by one of my biggest kind of creative influences online, which is Peter McKinnon. If you're watching this video, I'm quite sure you know who he is, and he recently made a video on flat lay style photography. It's something I've always really enjoyed doing. I'm no expert at it, but I love doing it, and I love trying to make them better and better in terms of the layout, the background, the lighting, the angles, all of those bits and pieces. So I thought I'd bring you along for the ride on this one. It's going to be a little bit of a different style video. Firstly, we've got to go and source a better background because I started off with this Aztec throw, which I thought in my mind, I've been thinking about this all day, it could work quite well. I'm just not digging it. I laid it out as a bit of a setup, just a rough setup. The lighting wasn't perfect and the layout wasn't perfect, but nonetheless, not really loving it. So I'm going to head out to a DIY shop and see if I can source a better background. Number one, been meaning to source some of those for a while and create a little collection for these type of images. Number two, I'll bring you back here and talk you through all the little bits and pieces that go into making these flat lays, angles, lighting, the lens, the kit that I'm going to use, and of course, most importantly, the layout itself. This is just how I do them, and I hope you enjoy it. So I better get cracking before the shops close, and we will come back here and see what we can create. Okay, so I think I've hit the jackpot. This is the flooring section, and along here you have all these different types of tiles. I do not wish to buy a whole pack, however, in here you have all of the little samples that you can purchase. A couple of those together could just be the right size, so now I just got to choose which one I want. I'm quite liking a little bit of the dark. I like a bit of dark on dark, but I wanted a little bit of texture on it and for it to be quite matte. I don't want a lot of shine off the lights, but I do quite like this one. I think that could work quite nicely. And now I found the tiling section. This is getting more tricky. So many nice textures. I'm really liking some of the lighter colour on these. They're actually pretty cheap, so I might pick up like a light colour. I really like the texture. It's quite like rough, so I might try out one of these as well. Oh, I could be in here for days. I'm glad this shop is closing soon. Things have escalated. This looks like a slightly more plush selection of materials. I did actually want a kind of concrete style look, and I do quite like this light grey. It's got a little bit of marbling to it. It's quite nice as well, so I might pick up the light grey and the dark grey. I'm sure they'll be used for future product shoots as well. Okay, so back from B&Q, had to restrain myself, could have gone wild. Stuck to 3 different colours. I ended up buying 2 lots of these kind of smaller tiles. I got this really dark colour here, and I'm going to slot them together like so. Should be a big enough space for these kind of small flat lays. And then this kind of like slightly lighter concrete, industrial concrete colour, which I'm going to work with, I think, this evening, because I think it kind of complements the black colour. So a little bit of black and grey tones. I'm not very exciting. I just do like a bit of a black and grey tone. And then I ended up picking up that really nice textured, I'll show you if I've got it here, lighter colour tile, which is quite a big tile here, in that kind of really light, almost whitey kind of grey colour. And this one is actually like proper tile. I think the other ones are kind of laminates, but mostly I was just keen to pick up something that didn't have too much shine to it and it was pretty matte. But actually, even though these are some kind of laminate, I think these initial ones that I got, they still look pretty good, having lined everything roughly up and just giving it a bit of a lighting test. But now I'm going to try and do a little top-down shot so you can see me properly lining everything up. And because the layout is very key. What I tend to do is try and line everything up quite precisely and then throw something in there that is one thing that's kind of off kilt, just to give it a bit of a twist and a bit of a focus point. But let's see what this ends up looking like. Okay, so this is the layout that I ended up sticking with pretty much. I had a couple of things poking in and not fully on show, like the camera strap. I just had these little attachments dangling in because I added a little bit of silver in and gave you a little bit of a clue as to what the item was. I didn't end up enjoying the camera battery charger that much. It was just a little bit too bulky, so I also just had that poking in and then pretty much played about with all the other little bits and pieces. I quite enjoyed the shutter buttons ending up on a diagonal there with a red one in the middle as just a little bit of a red accent to kind of complement a few flecks of red on the camera. Kept the camera in the middle as the main centerpiece and then just dotted the little accessories around. A couple of bits I didn't include that were in my kit because I thought, you know, I'll just keep those a little bit intriguing. But pretty pleased with how this turned out. I'm so glad that I ended up getting the background. Okay, so let me pop you on the tripod here just to finish this video out. Well, that was very enjoyable. Just simply going to get a few tiles made the whole experience so much better and has given me loads of food for thought for future shoots. Everything really popped off the light grey tile quite nicely. I think it was like a nice grey-black combo, much better than my initial Aztec throw idea, and the light worked nicely. I personally usually go with natural light for these kind of shoots. I haven't done one in a while, but I do feel more confident with natural light. But seeing as it is dark, I had to work with some artificial light. I used my Lantern Godox light here, and I've gone for quite a moody look, just like one-sided 3/4 hit to give it a harsh shadow on one side. I'll probably open up the shadows on the other side a tiny bit in Lightroom, and also I'll probably use Lightroom to do a little bit of auto adjusting on the geometry and getting the lines kind of squared away. I find that the most tricky thing when like over the top. I'm quite particular about getting my lines perfectly executed, which is always tricky. I use my Sony because obviously I'm shooting my Fuji camera. I ended up using my 40 just to give it a little bit of compression, but it enabled me to get far enough over the top of it to get a straight down shot. Maybe the 90 would have been nice as well, but I would have had to get pretty high over the top of it. I shot at f11 because the Fuji is slightly higher, so there is a bit of depth in the items, so I wanted them all to be in focus. I just about got away with f11, could have gone up maybe f16 to make everything super sharp, but that seemed to work pretty well. I've checked the image out on the back of the camera. I really like it. Grey and black tech kind of vibe, and I think it will work really nicely for a thumbnail. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and any thumbnail tips, flat lay tips or thumbnail tips. I would love to hear them. Yeah, really enjoyable, and I shall be doing more of this in this winter season. I hope you enjoyed this one, a little bit different, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.